High noon on Jones and Keefe, a Tier Tuesday. You can check out the tiers at Jones and Keefe on social media and on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Get it on your phone, free, easy. Take it with you wherever you go. It is not just a Tier Tuesday. We have Kiefer Madness on the way at 12:45, and it's also a Tom E. Tuesday. Tom E. Curran, NBC Sports Boston, joins us every Tuesday at noon. His latest is up now at NBC Sports Boston. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT debate. He says that Tom Brady proved, Super Bowl 59 proved, that the Tom Brady-Mahomes race just isn't that close. He wrote, nobody, perhaps in American pro sports history, could ever do the Lazarus Act like Tom Brady. Even when he didn't rise fully from the dead, you had to pry games from his cold, dead hands. He never got his face blown off like Peyton Manning did in Seattle or against Seattle in 2012, like Mahomes did on Sunday, like Montana in 86 when his Niners lost 49-3 to the Giants.
Oh,
that's a good one to file away.
It is.
Or when he got benched in 87 in the divisional round against Minnesota. Like John Elway when he lost by a combined 96 points in his first 3 trips to the Super Bowl. There's pretty much the top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history. Brady, Mahomes, Montana, Elway, Manning. 4 of them got blown out. Brady, not so much. Tommy Curran, you don't think it's a real debate, Brady and Mahomes?
I think it's a good debate on the arc. But I think that had Mahomes won on Sunday, there would have been a contention that he had arrived, that he was there, that he was on the peak of Olympus, standing eye to eye, arm in arm with Tom Brady, and that is insane. And I know that it would have been easily assailed by people who would just say count the rings, but I think people would also then say, well, what Mahomes just did at the start of his career trumps Brady. And people don't understand that while the first 3, I hate when people say people don't understand, of course they do.
You're talking to us. I mean, you never know, Tom.
Yeah,
we really might not, yeah.
No, it's sometimes overlooked that Brady, for the first 4 seasons of his career, was dismissed and marginalized, even as he won 10 playoff games in a row and certainly was on the Montana arc, as I was alleging when he was 10-0 and had won 3 Super Bowls. And people like Brady didn't get equal to Montana until 2016, honestly. But I digress. When they finally gave him Moss, he threw for 50 friggin' touchdowns, and the team scored 75, both NFL records. So that, to me, was showing, okay, not only is he the most accomplished within a team, but all you have to give him is some toys and not, God bless them, Deion Branch and David Gibbons and Bethel Johnson and Antoine Smith and Troy, all wonderful players. But if you marry him with a Hall of Fame player like Moss, this shows he's the greatest player that has ever played. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of really a blowout.
No, it is. And that's why I think the better debate, which nobody wants to have because it's, I guess it's maybe boring to argue about who the second best is in anything, but Mahomes versus Montana, Mahomes versus Peyton Manning, Mahomes versus Elway, I think are pretty fascinating debates, and those are good ones. You can take your sides on it. It's like, but we already need to leap to the guy who's played for 23 years and won 7 Super Bowls. Like, well, that's not really fair to anybody.
I think the Chiefs are going to enter the wilderness now, too. In a way
really?
The Patriots never did. Yeah, I do. Kelsey's ancient.
Yeah.
They have Juju. DeAndre Hopkins, who I still love, is just not somebody to build around. They have Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Kareem Hunt and Rashee Rice will be back unfortunately. Yeah. for the whatever you have of an opinion on that. But they're going to be in the wilderness again. I mean, they got absolutely pantsed on the offensive line, and they're not getting any younger. And so I think that they are going to enter the wilderness a little bit.
Now, what does that mean in your mind? Is it, you lose in the divisional round, or it's like you missed the playoffs?
9-8.
Oh, wow.
9-8, 10-7. Patriots 2009 type business. I mean, what the Patriots did in 2010 is still remarkable, but to do that, they had to draft in 2008 Mayo, 2009 Edelman, Chung, 2010 McCourty, Gronk, more guys that I'm missing, Slater, but 2011 Solder, and then 2012 Hightower and Jones. You had to rebuild through the draft. And then, boom, the bottom fell out in 2013 draft-wise, so they were able to live through the rest of the decade, or at least until 2018, and they were hanging by a thumbnail through that Super Bowl. But after that, that's how it goes.
Well, and so I get it. Like, Kelsey is aging out. Andy Reid, who knows how much longer he's going to coach for. Spagnuolo, same deal. But the Chiefs do draft pretty well. Like, probably Bill in that era doesn't get enough credit for how well he drafted. But the Chiefs have drafted well. They're still getting players. So you think it's about to drop out?
I do, because I do think it's offensive line and skill position based, and it is obviously quarterback based, but it's offensive line and skill position based. But if you cannot complement it and take advantage of your cheat code, which you have a quarterback, then you're just going to be another good team. And that's what the Patriots will run the risk of being. Will they top out with Drake May as an average to good team, or will they do a remarkable job like the Philadelphia Eagles did in surrounding your quarterback with trades, free agent pickups like Zach Bond, draft picks like they made all along the defensive front? So can you do that and then go to the Super Bowl with like the 8th or 9th best quarterback in the league?
So do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are set up for a long run? Like, if we just went from the Patriots dynasty to the Chiefs dynasty, you think that might take a little bit of a hit? Are the Eagles set up for it, or is it, is the league kind of getting what they want, which is, more parity?
I just don't think there's going to be any such thing as dynasties as we traditionally knew them. They're just going to pass off being in Super Bowls, attending them, not even winning them necessarily. I think that it's too hard. It really is. And, Belichick had a good point talking to Jim Gray on his final Let's Go podcast this week. And it's one that, for all of us who spend a lot of time focusing on the downfall of the Patriots over the last, 5 years of Belichick's tenure especially, it's just such a wear and tear on a good team. You work until friggin' Valentine's Day. You have 15 minutes to get ready for the combine. You're going to end up with the worst draft pick. All the players on your team just played in the Super Bowl, so you have to pay some of them. You're going to lose some of them. You're going to lose some of your coaches. It's such a barrier to excellence to be a good team that it equalizes things, and it wears your asses down. I mean, what is it? Brady played, 3 extra seasons of playoff football, I think? I'd have to check it.
No, I think you're right. I think it's something like that. Yeah, 48 games.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So he played 21 seasons plus 3?
Yeah.
24 seasons in the NFL when you break it out and look at the number of games. So that's why I don't think you're going to see dynasties. And I think that inevitably you're going to see no one's ever going to three-peat before I die.
All right.
We
had
that
on the tombstone.
Some are trying to pretend that the Packers did.
He was right.
He was right.
Even though the Packers didn't do it in the Super Bowl era. Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston. You can check out all his latest there. Check him out on Quick Slants. Tom, how much of a hit does Andy Reid take for the other night?
He's so cuddly. He doesn't get hit.
Travis Kelce tried to fight him last Super Bowl.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and how'd that go for him? He'll be out of the NFL. I mean, that was so outrageous when you think about it. He's freaking bodying head coach. What a fool.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, of all people, the body. I mean, I could see fighting Nick Sirianni. I mean, to get to that point with a guy with that face. Mm-hmm. But body him, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
So I don't think it hurts Andy Reid. Andy Reid is kind of more of a lifer, a marathoner than Bill Belichick's 2 sprints that he showed. Like when you say, Andy Reid might break Belichick's record, you're like, he's still not a better coach. I mean, I really, truly believe that. And I look at, ironically, Don Shula and say he's got more wins. He still wasn't a better coach. I mean, Belichick is just unparalleled from as an assistant, as a defensive coordinator with the Giants, with all the game plans against unbelievable, unstoppable teams and offenses, and with what he wrought for a long period in New England before unrotting it.
Speaking of Belichick, what did you make of his weekend? He popped up in the Dung Kings commercial with his girlfriend, who was also spotted earlier in the weekend wearing a Falcons Super Bowl champion T-shirt.
I don't know. I think I'm too jaded on Bill at this point. I might be too jaded. It's just a weird guy.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's all. That's all I can say. I mean, I honestly think there's a point at which I start to think, I don't know, man. Have I gone on too long on Bill? Like, you don't want to be cartoonish. I mean, I thought it was goofy. I thought it was it was just straight weird. And I'm like, how did the conversation take place with the woman? Who initiated
the girl?
Let's try and get you in the commercial.
My guess is she said, I want to do this.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well, yeah.
And he's like, I'll do whatever you say.
I don't know. I mean,
my guess.
I don't know. I was talking about this with Phil Perry, and I said, there's got to be a point at which Bill says, hey, what can I do for you here? I mean, all she was doing was sitting in an airplane seat. I mean, it's not like she was trying to get into a commercial in 2 years, seemingly.
I don't know. I don't think you're giving her enough credit.
She didn't recognize Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I think she might have.
Well, she did. Did she go and say, I need a seat change? I'm going to sit next to Bill and try and get him to autograph my book?
Well,
I mean,
I'm not ruling it out.
I mean, that's...
Again, I'm spending too much time on Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. I don't
know. So I would say maybe not enough, because it's not like we're like dragging these stories. I'd be like, hey, remember Bill? Like, no. He is at the NFL honors, which he never is, and he's got his girlfriend on the red carpet.
It's just weird and embarrassing. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, gotcha. I got my 8 rings here. All right, great. Well, would you be doing that had you gotten the job with the Raiders? Would you be doing that if you got the job last year with the Falcons? Right. Or are you just trying to say, see?
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to end up being ridiculously negative about a 72-year-old guy who was the greatest coach in NFL history and who really did a great job of creating the team that I covered. So I don't want to become cartoonish in my nonstop ripping of Willie. But it's probably too late.
Yeah, ripping a Willie. Don't look that up on a work computer.
Part of the job.
So, Tom, let me ask you, now that we're basically to this point in the offseason, games are done. We've been talking a lot about the Patriots offseason and what they're going to do. We're here now. What do we expect the Patriots to get done in the offseason and specifically free agency, which is going to come up first? Where are we looking? What should we expect?
I'm going to work a little bit this week on a story that I was pursuing when I was at the Super Bowl to look at free agency, because as I've said to you guys, it's not, free agency isn't what it's cracked up to be. You know, I'm watching yesterday, and one of the radio shows in town was asked, well, what can the Patriots do to get better? Spend money! Okay, well, that was the answer last year. On who? Who's the dude again? Tyron Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Jonah Johnson. I mean, they weren't great players out there. So the Patriots have to be innovative, in my estimation. You have to find the ability to look at your roster, look at the players who are out there, and some who aren't out there, and figure out ways to get them. And getting back to free agency, when I talked to folks down at the Super Bowl, they said, watch teams like Cleveland, watch teams who are up against it, who are going to have to release good players, because as the cap is going up and you're having to cut ridiculous checks to middling players for good players who aren't incredible, like a Trevor Lawrence or a Tua or whoever else, you're going to have to see some 30 and 31 and 32-year-old guys released who signed those ridiculous contracts a few years ago themselves when they were 28. One example would be like a Jack Conklin from Cleveland, really good offensive lineman. Vrabel was there. Would Jack Conklin come available? Can you find those opportunities? Can you find trade opportunities? Can you look at your offense and say, well, shoot, mm-hmm. I don't want Ted McMillan in the draft. I don't want Travis Hunter. But I do look at the draft and see a crap ton of tight ends. And why not just build the whole plane out of tight ends? Honestly. Think about it. You got Brock Bowers, you got Sam Laporta, you got TJ Hawkinson, you have George Kittle, you have Kelsey, Gronk, you name it. the number of tight ends who become security blankets, and you go, oh, there I got Hunter Henry. He's 31. And sometimes, because of the nature of the routes, he gets hit a lot. So be innovative. Try and find other ways. Okay, well, there's no wideouts. Fine. We'll draft the tight end. Have fun with that.
All right, where do you stand on Cooper Kupp, who is obviously available? The Rams are looking to trade him. Would you like that addition?
I'd trade for him if he'd be over the moon about coming here. If he would reluctantly come here and not be into it, then I'd say, nah, okay.
How about
we're all set with you?
How about same question, Deebo Samuel?
Yes.
Why such a quick yes there, but more hesitant on Kupp? Why Deebo over Kupp?
The versatility of Deebo. Now, obviously, I think you have to manage him in a different fashion because he does spend an awful lot of time injured. But I think that, as a running back, as a slot, as a downfield receiver, he's a little bit different than Cooper Kupp. So I would look at him as an individual. But again, is it an easy sell right now for the Patriots? Would they have to overpay, not just with the trade, but they need willing participants. They can't have people coming here kicking rocks and not being that into it. And they've experienced that, I think, through free agency, even when Bill was here. I don't think Nelson Aguilar friggin' loved it here. Kendrick Bourne certainly is a happy guy, but I don't think he loved it in 2022 when he was constantly in the doghouse, some of it because of his own inability to pick things up and be in the right place at the right time. But I think that they need to value people who want to be there. And I think that Vrabel has kind of articulated that with his statements that, we want people who are going to put the team very much first.
All right. He's Tommy Curran. Check out his work, NBC Sports Boston. I should know this. Is Quick Slants, is that done for football season? Does that continue? Can they check you out tonight?
I thought we usually had a post conversation after the Super Bowl, but none this year. But I will tell you this.
Yes.
I'm going to have Mike Sando he's going to be on the podcast, and he voted for Lamar Jackson All-Pro and Lamar Jackson MVP. And I love Mike Sando, and he says it just does not compute that someone would do otherwise. Well, I did otherwise.
You were
embrace
you
debate.
were one of those.
All right, good fight.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I voted for Lamar Jackson for All-Pro. Because you know why?
Yeah, I'd love to know why, actually.
Valuable.
So the best quarterback
MVP.
is not the most valuable?
Yeah.
I'm on Mike Sando's side.
I voted for and here's my trump card is this.
I hate to say it too. We were kind of mocking Orlovsky for this. I'm also on Sando's side on this. Yeah.
Yeah, he goofs. I voted for Chad Pennington in 2008.
I was going to say, this year seems like a throwaway.
Comeback player? What'd you vote for?
Oh, yeah. No, in 2008, you think?
Okay.
He was the MVP of the league?
Jesus, Tom.
Holy
you still
smokes.
have a vote after that?
Do you understand what valuable means? Do you understand how bad the Dolphins were before Pennington joined them? The drastic improvement that the Dolphins saw. What's the word valuable mean to you?
He did lead the league in completion
percentage. A change maker. It doesn't mean who was the most outstanding, who compiled the most stats. It means if you took them away, how horrendous would they be?
Ronnie Brown was pretty good running the Wildcat that year.
Probably should have voted for Mahomes every year.
Did you know Chad Pennington finised second in the MVP vote that year?
Yeah,
probably because of Tom's vote.
Because of Tom's vote. Oh. Solely put
it
was
49-1. 49-1. No, I'm kidding. He got four.
Nice. All right. Well, make sure you check that out. Patriots Talk Podcast with Tommy Curran. All over NBC Sports Boston and Thursdays with WEI afternoons as well. Tom, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Valuable.
Wouldn't Jane Daniels be very valuable? His team improved by like 8 wins.
We'll talk about this next week.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
Put a pin in it.
See you, Tom.
Bye, Tom.